Hello and welcome, I'm Ken Gowdy, and in this tutorial we will look at how to create a good and solid embouchure. The word embouchure refers to how a person will use their teeth, lips, tongue and facial muscles when playing a wind or brass instrument. Having a good embouchure will get you on your way to creating a good sound. However, there is not just one embouchure that everybody uses or one set of principles to follow. In fact, if you look at the embouchure of many good saxophone players, you will see that they all have their own form of embouchure, which is logical since we all have different mouth, lips, tongue and jaw shapes and sizes. So in reality, it might be impossible to reproduce exactly the embouchure of another player whose facial features differ widely from your own. If you look at the embouchure of many saxophone players, you will soon notice that some will have a lot of the mouthpiece in their mouths while others will have less. Some will have their lower lip fully curled in over their lower teeth, while some will have their lower lip fully curled out, and yet others will be somewhere in between these two extremes. Some will change the amount of lower lip used depending on the notes being played, especially when playing high notes or low notes. And yet some will not even use their lower teeth as part of their embouchure, using their lower lip alone to support the reed. Some will have their top teeth in contact with the top of the mouthpiece, while others will curl their upper lip under their top teeth. Some will have the corners of their lips curling up as if smiling, claiming it gives better support, and yet others will not, claiming it creates too much pressure on the larynx. Some will move their lower jaw in and out when playing certain notes, and yet others will puff out their cheeks. Some would have their mouthpiece pointing straight out, while others would have their mouthpieces pointing to the side. Some would have their heads tilted up or down, affecting the position of their embouchure. And yet with all these different variations in the embouchure, they all sound good. If you're being taught by a teacher, then obviously you're going to follow their instructions. But if you're teaching yourself, then there is a lot of variations to choose from, and eventually you will develop your own form of embouchure. However, there are some instructions that can be given which make logical sense. I will explain the most popular form of embouchure. First, let's look at the most crucial point of where to place your lower teeth. A mouthpiece has a flat part called a table, which the reed sits against, and it also has a curved part called the facing. When the reed is attached to the mouthpiece, there will be a point at which the reed starts to lose contact with the mouthpiece. Your lower teeth should line up with this point to create the best conditions for the reed to vibrate. This point may be difficult to see, especially if you hold the mouthpiece up to the light and try to rotate it to get a better view. One way to get a better idea of where this point is to gently slide a piece of paper between the mouthpiece and the reed until it stops. When you put the mouthpiece in your mouth, line up your lower teeth with this point. Then naturally close your mouth and rest your upper teeth on the top part of the mouthpiece. The use of a mouthpiece patch will stop the mouthpiece sliding in and out of your mouth. If you place your lower teeth in the correct position, then your upper teeth, when you close your mouth, will be in different positions depending on whether you have an over or an under bite. However, it's the placement of the lower teeth that is important. Remember, this is just a guide, so you should try to experiment with the position of your lower teeth around this point to see if it produces a better tone quality for you. Now let's consider the position of the lower lip. In addition to lining up your lower teeth with the point that the reed leaves the mouthpiece, you're going to cover your lower teeth with parts of your lower lip. Do not use the soft and tender part towards the bottom of the inner lip. This part of the lip is very soft, and if you're not careful, you can easily cut it with your teeth. Also, you should not cover your lower teeth with a lot of lip. If you pronounce the letter V as in victory, v, that will give you some indication of how much lip to use, because when you pronounce the letter V as in victory, you naturally cover your lower teeth with part of your lower lip when saying it. The lip that covers your lower teeth would act as a cushion and support for the reed. A fatter cushion will produce a fatter sound. So for a fuller sound, you can roll your lower lip out. The last part of creating a good embouchure is to create a good seal with your lips around the mouthpiece and reed by applying equal pressure from all sides. You want a good support without tension, and you should frequently check that you're not biting or applying too much pressure. If you are biting, then eventually deep grooves will appear on the top of the mouthpiece or on the mouthpiece patch, or your lower lip will begin to feel sore and you might develop cuts or calluses, especially if you have sharp teeth. If you apply too much pressure, the note produced will be sharp. If you apply too little pressure, the note will be flat. It is a good idea to use a tuner to see what is the right amount of pressure to use when producing notes. So as you can appreciate, when it comes to embouchure, there are lots of variations to do with embouchure. What I've tried to do is give the most common form of embouchure, but what you need to do is to try out some of the variations and find out which embouchure is the best for you. What form of embouchure is the best for you that creates the best sound for you. If you play your saxophone every day, then you will find that your embouchure will become stronger, and some point down the line you may have to change your reed strength or even change your mouthpiece. Some of the things that you can do to increase your embouchure strength is to play long tones. That's very good. Also just to play the mouthpiece and neck alone. I will put a video on about just playing the mouthpiece. I have already put a video on about long tone exercises. Another thing that you can do, I've never done it myself, but if you get a round pencil and hold it in your lips, just hold it with your lips, hold it out straight, and keep it like that for as long as you can. You will find that your lips will begin to tire and the pencil will begin to drop down. Have a break and then try it again. You just keep on doing that, and that will begin to build up the strength around your lips and your embouchure. If you haven't subscribed yet, then please subscribe, and I shall see you soon in the next video. Bye bye.